Hi everyone, welcome to another edition of Inside Cloud Imperium. For today's show or edition, we're going to take you behind the scenes in what we're doing in AI in Star Citizen. Like everything else in Star Citizen, we're going to try and push the boundaries of what we can do and what's been done before. So we've actually partnered with a new middleware company, and their middleware is called Kythera.
Hi, I'm Sandy Gardner, and I'm here with Matt, Mike, and Ben. Three guys from Moon Collider. And these three, I'm actually sitting with three very smart people. All three of you are from Cambridge originally.
We originally met at university. We were all studying various different courses there. I was doing physics.
Yeah, I was doing maths, and Matt was doing computer science.
Yeah, I was actually doing programming as part of the course, whereas I think these guys spent most of their time programming instead of doing their course. But
I think the first contact I had with Moon Collider was through Matthew Jack, who's the main founder or principal of it, along with Mike Bell. And he'd reached out to me over email. He'd basically said, I used to work at Crytek, and I was one of the primary AI programmers there and helped develop the Cry AI system. And now I've gone independent. I'm building my own middleware for AI that's going to be sort of the next step, the next generation. I still do consulting for Crytek. I know the engine really well, and I love what you're doing. And is there a way maybe we could talk? Because I'm pretty excited by Star Citizen, and I'd love to help out. And I was like, okay, that's great, because anyone that has CryEngine experience is obviously a big plus for us, and someone that actually programmed a large part of the AI system already in CryEngine was obviously someone that we were very interested in.
Kythera is a middleware which runs with multiple engines. We chose CryEngine partly because it's such a fantastic showcase, especially for AI characters.
There's a certain amount of role play initially. We kind of decide how we would want a wingman or a pilot to behave, or a certain race. If we're looking at the Vandal, we think about what's involved in that process. Don't we? We kind of play it out a little bit.
Yeah, and the different species, the different attitudes, the different types of pilots, and all that stuff. Yeah.
We kind of get an overarching idea of what makes a Vandal when they're in a ship, when they're flying around. How would they attack you? That kind of thing. Yeah. And what makes a UEE, them kind of more regimented, militaristic type formation kind of thing. That's a big part of it, I think, is getting personality across, because 90% of the time you're going to be seeing not a pilot, but you're going to see him in a ship. So the ship, in a sense, becomes his avatar. It's how you see him in the world. So to really get a sense of personality, we need to make the ship have a personality. The ship needs to move in a unique way for each wingman, for each person, for each race.
When a thruster fires on an AI ship, it's actually a thruster firing. It's part of the physical world that the ship is in, and it will affect the way that the ship functions.
This kind of game has so many different aspects. So I think if you're an AI programmer, for instance, it's incredibly fascinating and interesting, because it's solving a lot of problems on a lot of different levels. It's a much more complicated task. It's like doing a dive off the top and a triple corkscrew, whatever, and it's a difficulty of 10, not a difficulty of 3 or 4. And some people like to do that, and luckily I think the Moon Collider folks are those people.
As an astrophysicist, I was working on simulations of the universe, so running large simulations on supercomputers around the world, trying to understand how the structure and how galaxies formed. So I've gone very much from working on one type of virtual universe to a very different kind of virtual universe with Star Citizen.
One of the big things about Kythera is that it's dynamic.
What is dynamic navigation?
So dynamic navigation is a feature for the first-person combat where AIs will react to the world changing.
So if you've got a ship landing in a hangar, then the characters know to route around it instead of walking straight through where the ship now is.
Whenever stuff changes, it's recomputed on the fly. And we try and bring that dynamic approach to everything we do.
We don't want the AI to be too controlled. We want it to react sensibly to the player. So designers can't specify every single thing this AI will do. We just give it, these are your objectives. Do them in an intelligent way and react to the player itself.
we draw these things out, we come up with them so that we can have sort of distinct maneuvers, distinct looks to each of the different species and the different types of pilots, the capabilities and all that stuff, so you really get a sense that all of the different AI across the whole game are real people. They're actual characters piloting ships and walking about and doing all sorts of things, and not just the product of some computer program that's ticking away in the background.
One other key system there is just the avoidance. When dogfighting is basically about shooting at other ships and getting close enough to shoot them, then pretty quickly what you end up with is ships colliding, which is good fun, but...
Avoidance is an interesting feature, and it's one that we hope people don't notice. You notice when it goes wrong, when, as Matt said, ships collide with each other, but it's actually quite complicated to make sure that ships avoid each other all the time. And
we've also got things like moving asteroids and things, other bits of the environment that are moving around, and we have to avoid those as well.
Yeah, with Star Citizen, with such a dynamic, large world, you can't hard code all the things you have to avoid, so we needed this system which automatically would work out how a ship should turn to avoid something and make sure collisions don't happen.
We needed a new AI for Star Citizen because it's doing so many things that, say, CryEngine actually doesn't do it. I mean, because CryEngine is specifically a first-person engine for running around first-person combat, and it kind of handles some other cases. But in Star Citizen, we have travel, between planets. We fly around in space. We have dogfighting in space. We need very sophisticated sort of space-based AI, flight AI. But we also need the meta AI, which is kind of what does that NPC do during the day? Is he, he's a pirate. He gets up in the morning, brushes his teeth, goes to work, raiding some innocent traders, and then after he's gotten his ill-gotten gains, he goes and fences them, and then goes to the bar and has some drinks in celebration and goes to bed. And what is that pirate's life goal? What's he trying to do? Is he trying to build a pirate empire, or is he just wants to be a solo operator? And so there's these different levels of AI that go from sort of the basic sort of tactical, okay, how do I get around a corner, or how do I navigate to somewhere, to like, what am I doing today, or what am I doing this week, or what am I doing this year?
They're the guys that have really written the bulk of the system that we're actually using. It's just really been up to us to run with designs, ideas internally, and work with the Kythera guys to actually get the end product into the game.
Star Citizen really has a unique set of challenges, and I think a lot of people might have dreamt of one or two of them, but putting them all together is pretty bold. And I think it's really only because of the backers' funding that's possible. I think with a publisher model, it would be very hard to achieve. But I think with the support of the backers, we can really get there. For us, that's a fantastic opportunity because there are so many different features that we might implement for different games, different genres, and they've really all come together in this one project. So it's very exciting.
All right, I hope everyone enjoyed the look inside what we're doing on the AI in Star Citizen. So we'll catch you next time on Inside Cloud Imperium Games. Goodbye.